If you were to ask what my favorite game is, I would have a difficult time picking only one. If you narrowed it down and asked what my favorite game series is, I would still have a difficult time picking just one. If you get frustrated by my indecisiveness and just pick a genre and ask what my favorite role-playing series is, then I think I would pick a Namco series that has been going on for nearly 20 years and over 15 for North America, the Tales of games. When it comes to RPGs in general, I have a fair amount of them and enjoy playing one now and then, even if I haven't finished a lot of them or even started some. Whether it be Western or Japanese, old or new, hardcore or more casual, turn-based or more real-time fighting, there are quite a few I like, and a few I don't quite like as much as others. But Tales is one series as a whole I enjoy the most. The first one I played was Tales of Symphonia back when it came out here in 2004, which is actually the Tales game quite a few people played first, and it remains as one of my favorite Japanese RPGs. It wasn't until a few years after, when I saw a copy of Tales of the Abyss for the PlayStation 2, that I realized that there were other games just like Symphonia as part of a Tales of series. Since then, I've managed to acquire, and still get, every Tales game that was released in North America. If you haven't heard of the games before, it's an anime-style RPG series from Namco that is quite popular in Japan. So popular that it's the third highest selling RPG series behind the Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy franchises. Just about every game is reviewed positively, and the gameplay in each new entry doesn't deviate too much from its fantasy RPG formula, while still managing to all have their own unique stories, characters, and mechanics. It's this reliable sense of consistent quality that ensures Tales is a well-rounded RPG franchise, which is something you can't really say about Final Fantasy these days. And I only have about 4 of the Dragon Quest games and haven't even completely played through those yet, but I digress. When the Tales games come over to the West, however, while still highly regarded, they aren't nearly as popular as they are in Japan and don't sell as well. Because of that, it's somewhat of a niche series here, which is no surprise considering the game's anime style doesn't exactly appeal to everyone in our game market where shooting dudes and stealing cars rule supreme. That's not to say JRPGs aren't welcome. Companies like Square Enix, Nintendo, and Atlus all have RPGs that are considered popular here. It's just that some JRPGs are not that mainstream and tend to be a little bit more obscure, which leads the Tales games to mostly more core JRPG and anime fans. Funny enough, I actually don't watch a lot of anime, so the Tales franchise is probably the most I've seen since it's practically anime in video game form. However, fans like myself have proved Namco that there is a smaller but devoted fan base here, even if we didn't get most of the spin-off games and ports, or even a few of the main entries for that matter. But that's what I want to focus on for a new video series, a North American retrospective if you will, on all the Tales games we have gotten. Now, one of the main reasons I want to do an introduction video first for this retrospective is to lay some ground rules. Number 1, I am only covering the Tales games that officially released in North America and in the order of when they came here. For example, I'm starting off with Tales of Destiny since it was the first game we got, and not Fantasia, even though the latter is the very first Tales game. But we didn't get a version of that until 2006. And I want to be absolutely clear that I am not, repeat, not covering any of the Tales games we didn't get, since I don't have any of the Japanese-only ones. And even if I did import those, I don't know Japanese and wouldn't be able to play them anyway.
But Bundy, there's fan translations of the
Why yes, annoying hand puppet representing YouTube comments, there are fan translations of games we didn't get. But I'm not doing them as it defeats the purpose of a retrospective from a North American point of view. I'll still mention those games and any reasons why we didn't get them, but I'm not making any dedicated videos on those. That goes for the European releases and any anime and manga adaptations too, for that matter. Besides, I already have about a dozen games to cover, and that's not including the ones that are coming up since it's still an ongoing series. Which leads me to the next rule. 2. I will cover upcoming entries and re-releases for systems I already have. As of this video, we're getting Tales of Symphonia Chronicles in February, which are HD versions of Tales of Symphonia and its sequel, Tales of Xillia 2 sometime in 2014, and the recently announced Tales of Zestiria, all for the PlayStation 3. So I can do videos of those as well, but not when they come out, as they will be covered after the games before them. I may stop the retrospective after Zestiria, but we'll see. It really depends on how much I want to keep covering future installments, and if I reach a point where I catch up with a series, then those wouldn't really be parts of a retrospective anymore and just be more of thoughts on the new games, which I could do as separate videos instead. That, and I also have to get the system they would be on if the series goes on to something like the PlayStation 4. Also, I will do the re-releases of Abyss on the 3DS and the aforementioned Symphonia Chronicles, but will be shorter episodes focusing on any and all differences with the originals and how those ports hold up, as well as any possible future ports we receive, provided I have the system they are on. While the main installments I'll cover in more detail, but not all details as the next rule will explain. 3. I am not covering entire stories or spoiling anything major, because if I did explain the entire plots of each Tales game, they would be very long videos and take much more time to make. I'm mostly just going to talk about the basic premise of each game and the characters' roles and personalities, but not their entire backstory since they're usually spoiler heavy. Besides, because this is a recommended series for anyone that enjoys JRPGs, I prefer people I introduce these games to try and experience the full stories firsthand instead of listening to our arena synopsis. This retrospective will focus on the evolution of the series and how they stood in the North American market, as well as any significant changes made for the English versions. But for the most part, the videos on each Tales game will still be similar to my usual review videos. And the final rule is... this will take a while. Yeah, I'm planning on covering an RPG series with over 12 games, and with only one or two exceptions just briefly covering re-releases, these are not short games. Even with the fact that I'm not going to sum up the entire plots, I still need to record footage from games that can go upwards of over 40 hours each. I do want to at least beat each game since Symphonia is actually the only Tales game I've finished, but to also get a better idea of the games as a whole. Not only that, but I still plan on making more videos for my other review shows Black Sheep Game Reviews and They Made a Sequel. I'll be alternating between the three shows in the order of Black Sheep, Tales, Sequel, Rinse and Repeat, as well as whatever I feel like playing or random videos I do now and then so I don't burn myself out with reviews. The only thing I can really ask for is simply just patience before you ask, when's the next Tales retrospective video coming? As I honestly don't know how long this will take. Hell, by the time I get around to Xillia 2 and Zestiria, they will likely be old enough to be considered appropriate for the retrospective term. I hope that adequately explains everything and that you look forward to my first retrospective. The first episode, like I said, will be on Tales of Destiny and will hopefully be out soon. I can't promise how soon, but I'll try not to keep you all waiting for too long. Until then, here's the opening sequence I made for the series. Later.